Alright, in the previous video you saw me remove the B2 piston and the bushing and seal on the W123 300 TD Mercedes, and now we've got our new seal in, so let's get the bushing and seal installed, B2 piston and the cover, and get this car back together. Well, it's 7 a.m. and thanks to the time change, it looks like it's well, I guess it looks like it's 6, but sun's not really out yet. So, got our old bushing and seal here, and we got our new bushing and seal. Ordered the seal, and it is in now. So, we are ready to reassemble. What I'm going to do is take just a little bit of the blue transmission assembly goo, the sticky stuff, and just put a dab on this thing, just to make just to kind of hold it in place, make sure it doesn't try to like back out of its spot while we drive the seal on. The seal is going to go with the open face facing out, just like this. We'll drive it in like that. I'm going to set up time lapse, try to get a light where y'all can see, because it's, like I said, it's dark, and we'll try to get the bushing in and the seal in. So hopefully y'all can see well. So we're looking at the bore of the B2 piston inside of the transmission. So the first thing we've got to put in, I've got y'all zoomed in, is our little shaft here. And this thing fell out when I pulled it apart, from what I can tell on the internet. I've seen pictures going both ways, but it looks like, from what I can tell, it goes with the grooved in sticking towards the outside, the pictures I've seen. So I'm going to put some green assembly lube all over this thing. I'm actually going to pack this thing tight with that stuff. This is dissolvable in transmission fluid. This is what you use on transmissions. I know some people use grease and stuff, but petroleum jelly, probably a safer bet. So we're just gonna, I'm trying to make sure I'm not in y'all's way. We're gonna stick this in that indention in the band, just like that. And now I've got the bore lubed up, I've got our B2 piston lubed up, so we're going to start it and make sure that that shaft goes in the hole in the B2 piston. And I may end up, I'm trying to try not to block y'all, I'm going to try to look at it from this side. Okay. That felt like it went in. Now the reason we pulled the pin is so we can look under and make sure when we push in on this piston that it pushes in, that we can see that band moving. And I'll show you all that. But we're almost ready to put the cover on. But I'm going to grab another camera and get it all covered in transmission fluid and show y'all that band moving. Okay, so we're on the, all right, you see that white thing? We're looking right up where the filter would be covering. Looking up through the valve body, there's our suction for the filter, and there's just the little hole right here. And we can see that moving? We are engaged. So we're in good shape. So now, as you can see, we've got everything lubed up. The O-ring is lubed up. Everything's ready to go. We're gonna, I'll put just a little bit of lube, the blue, and on the cover, and then we'll put the cover on and we'll slip the snap ring on. So let me change cameras and I'll show you all that. Let's now take our cover. I've already cleaned it, and I'm just going to take just a little bit of our blue stuff. Again, you could use as a lube, you could use transmission fluid. That's fine. I don't know what y'all are seeing right now, but probably not what I'm doing, or it's probably zoomed in all crazy. But I just put a thin little film on that. We really didn't need to, because we've lubed the O-ring, but can't go wrong with too much lube. We're going to just slip this cover in place, and the cover is going to push the piston in. So, because, yeah, that band is pushing out on the piston. So we're going to have to push the cover in there to get that. We're going to slip our snap ring over our fingers here, and we're just going to get that thing started in that groove and kind of work it around with our fingers. We're in except for one spot over here. I'm just going to use a screwdriver to help. Don't be like me. This cover has got a spot on it, I just saw. Right there. So that locks it in. I don't know if you can see what I'm pointing at, but that cover's got a spot that will keep that snap ring from locking in. Did not notice that before. Right there. So now we're locked in. Just make sure that snap ring is seated all the way around, and it is. Like I said, I'll get y'all in a little closer and show y'all what I'm talking about. Alright, so here's what I was talking about. I had this cover with this little spot up here, and this sticks out far enough that it keeps the snap ring from being able to drop in. So you have to put this where the gap in the snap ring is. Not necessarily where this gap is, but at least where the gap in the snap ring is. I've lined all that up. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know where Mercedes designed it all to be, but I use this gap right here to help get the snap ring out, but I like to leave the gap in the snap ring right there, because that way if you have the open part of the snap ring right here, or the closed part, or part of the snap ring right here, then that's not really doing much structurally, you know. There's just nothing really here. So I like to leave my gap in there, and that way we've got full snap ring covered in here. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. And then we'll put this piece down there lined up as well. But you could rotate that anywhere, in fact. Rotating this around, totally unnecessary. We'll put it completely up there. So that's locking that snap ring in. There's no way that snap ring can pop out up here at the top. It's basically locked in. I don't know where Mercedes designed that to go, but that's where we put it. It's probably designed to be here where I had it in the beginning, but yeah, I don't think it really is going to matter that much. So now I'm going to set up time lapse. We'll put the new filter on, new pan gasket. Let's go quickly take a look in the pan, see what this thing looks like. It looks perfectly clean to me, so that's a good sign. So definitely was hoping not to see any clutch material, and I don't see any, so I think we're in good shape. So pan is back on, as y'all saw. I'm just gonna wipe this down where transmission fluid had ran down there. I did wipe down the gasket surface on the transmission real good. And like I said, this stuff was already, I was just here 10,000 miles ago. Anyway, I'm gonna take some time. I'm not gonna video the reassembly. I think this video is getting pretty long. So reassembly, transmission to drive shaft, coupler, transmission mount, all that kind of stuff. Just like it came apart, we'll have to put the exhaust back on it. In reverse of what we took it apart. I think I may have a better set of flex couplers, so I'm gonna go look for those. If I do, I'm gonna change those out. I'm not gonna video that, but again, just stuff to think about while you're this far into it. All right, we're going back together with this thing, and as I said, I was gonna replace the flex couplers. And so this is what we've got. This is our original, and you can see it's pretty cracked, and it's either original or somebody put a Mercedes one back in, but you know, it definitely needed replacing. And you can see these are SGF. And if you get a Dorman 935503, they're reboxing SGF flex couplers. I read that on a forum somewhere a couple years ago, and I just tucked that away
in my memory. I say a couple years, probably about a year ago. So when I ordered flex couplers, ordered Dorman, and they do not come with the bolts, so I'm going to reuse my bolts, but good quality stuff, and that's what we're going back with. I'm going to go ahead and replace both of them. There's no need to just replace one. The other one looks probably just as bad. Thought I had a set on the shelf, a good used set, but I didn't. So if we're going through the trouble, might as well put some new ones in anyway. Exhaust is all hooked up. Before you hook up that coupler, and before you tighten it down, make sure all your exhaust hangers, little donut things, are in place, and your little hanger right there. Hook that up before doing this. This is your last step. So we're all good there. We've got, like I said, I put new flex couplers on here. Just inspect yours when you do it. And I didn't time lapse any of this because you saw me taking it apart. It's the same process. But we got a new flex coupler there. I think I've done a video on replacing flex couplers. If so, I will put a little link there at the top. And of course, the transmission cross member is tightened down. Not too bad of a job. I mean, it's just tight quarters, you know, getting in there, but it is doable. Hopefully the AC is not too windy. It's hot outside, so I've got the AC blowing. Trying to shield you off from any air and turn the vents down, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I just took it for a drive on my normal route that would expose the issue, I guess. You know, long drive on the freeway, exit, get to the stop sign, take off, it would slip every single day. So took it for a drive, did that, did a couple stops, my normal stops, and all that kind of stuff. No slipping, so we appear to have fixed our issue, so that is awesome. The strange part about this, normally when a V2 piston fails, you lose forward gears completely, I think, but that's normally if the piston itself fails. So normally the piston, I think they crack or come apart, whatever. Our piston was fine, but I think what was happening is the seal was hard as a rock, that seal in the transmission housing. And then that bushing could have been worn, the shaft of the V2 piston itself could have been worn. But all that to say, I think what was happening is when the fluid would get hot, it would leak past that seal. So that seal could not hold the pressure, and so it was leaking past there, causing not enough pressure to fully engage the V2 piston for it to push on that band. And I think that's what was happening. So it's fixed. While I had it jacked up, I noticed both CV shafts, the boots were ripped. So just got done replacing those, and now it's back on the road. We're good to go. I will, next video on this will be those CV shafts. Video that's gonna be a good one. Stay tuned for that video. Make sure you're subscribed, and thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below if you've done a V2 piston. Let me know how you did it, if you had to pull it or if you did it in the car, whatever. Also let me know what your failure mode was, if you've experienced a V2 piston failure or anything related to V2 piston. And I'll see y'all in the next one.